What is up, basketball fans? This is Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast brought to you by Big City Wings, Houston's wing joint, Apollo's wing joint. Go check out Big City Wings today. They got great people, great beer, great wings over at Big City Wings in the Houston area. This podcast is also brought to you by Celebrity Mint. Go check out celebritymint.com and at the Celebrity Mint on social media to see their graded legal tender collectibles of Mike Tyson, Ric Flair, and more. And also, shout out to our daily fantasy sponsor, Prize Picks. Use code Apollo when you sign up, and when you deposit your first amount of money, you can get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. Daily fantasy sports is where you pick more or less on a certain stat for a certain player each and every night in the NBA, college basketball, since we got March Madness going, and also MLB, college football, NFL. All of the sports, esports are even included there. So go use Prize Picks, our daily fantasy sponsor app. When you deposit, use code Apollo. When you sign up, and get up to $100 match on your first deposit. So we are back to talk some basketball. I'm joined always by the What We Learned Houston Rockets edition king, Josh Garcia. How we doing?
Feeling great. I got to see our iron picks. Shout out Prize Picks. Dez and Garrett were just going crazy.
Chefing it up in the kitchen.
I was genuinely scared that they were going to burn something down. And then I saw it was a prize pick situation. I was like, okay, this is the best possible scenario. Feeling good, comfortable, happy, just watching enough games to just throw my ass out of my apartment. But no drama, no nothing. It feels weird, right? Like we're just consuming basketball.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure this week, really, to watch basketball without all the drama until tonight, actually, a couple hours ago, really. We'll just go ahead and kick it off. So the Orlando Magic are playing the Golden State Warriors in Orlando, and 3.5 minutes into the game, a foul is called on Andrew Wiggins, a shooting foul on Paolo Banchero, which in the last month or so, you could say that they've been letting that one play. They decided to call it early in the game. They're not going to let them play necessarily to the full extent like they would in the latter half of the game. But call a shooting foul. Draymond disagrees with the ref, saying it wasn't a foul. You couldn't see what he was saying to the ref or how much he was barking at him, but immediately gets teched up. And that, whether that's reputation based or based on what he said to the ref, I don't know because I couldn't see what he was saying, but nevertheless gets teched up. And then Steve Kerr immediately calls a timeout. Immediately. Right after the text called. He's like, all right, get Draymond in the huddle. Get him away from the refs. We got a game to play. Let's calm him down. Let's get him through the rest of the game. That didn't happen. So Draymond continually is just barking at the refs, just going at him, jawing at him. Steph Curry goes over there to try to get him away. Chris Paul comes over. 3 or 4 different coaches and players from the Golden State Warriors come over and trying to get Draymond to walk away during the timeout to come to the huddle. It didn't happen. And as Draymond is finally walking away and heading towards the huddle, he says some expletives. There it is. Words are hard. Expletives
there you go.
At the ref. If you want to go see it, just go to Twitter, look up Draymond Green. If you can read lips in a very mild manner, I'm not very good at it. You can decipher what he said at the ref. It's very funny. He immediately gets another tech and he gets tossed from the game. 3.5 minutes into the game. Classic Draymond fashion. Unfortunately for you as a Rockets fan, the Warriors go on to win the game. Steph Curry hits a dagger towards the end of the game. Steph was literally in tears after Draymond got kicked out of the game. In tears. Like crying his eyes out. And that's probably more like I'm still worried for my friend because they sent him off to anger management classes and therapy and all that kind of stuff in the beginning of the season. I think that's more so where it is, combined with the factor of we're the 10 seed and we have to win like most games right now, because if we don't, we're out of the playoffs and then you have no chance of getting in, like playing into the playoffs. Like, I think that's where that was coming from. But nevertheless, it was very funny as a Warriors hater to watch all of that go down. And Draymond is just hilarious. I can't wait to see what he says on his podcast.
No, exactly. And it's like, what can you possibly be mad enough at 3.5 minutes into the game? It's 6-6 right now. And you're getting kicked out of a game over what? A shooting foul that gets called 30, 40 times a game, if not more. And the Texas A&M Houston game probably called a trillion times. But as for the NBA, just seeing Draymond get kicked out again. It was the perfect accumulation of everything that we've seen and felt over the years. It's just like, really, again, what the fuck are we doing? And in this tight play-in race, and if I'm trying to imagine myself 5-6 years ago, when if somebody said, yeah, we got a tight play-in race going on right now, I would have no idea what you were talking about. But right now, in this current moment, this shit means something to me.
Yeah.
And seeing Steph Curry hit the dagger and hit the bullshit sleep celebration in Orlando, it's like you were just picking on your little brother. Like, what was that? Why would you do this to me, to Orlando, to Florida, to the entire East Coast, which is not God's time zone? I felt so it hurt. It hurt a lot. And knowing that the Rockets are playing the number 3 seed Thunder right now, 50 win. Shout out the Thunder, NBA royalty. In fact, some are saying, man, Steph going to do this forever? I'm just kidding, but
yeah, we delayed recording by 5 minutes or so to watch the last 2 minutes of that game. We're recording this March 27th at 8:30 p.m. right now. It's unfortunate that they won. I was rooting for Magic. I have a soft spot for the Magic team. I don't know why. I just do. I just love them dearly.
The damn song.
It's the song and Paolo, really. I think that's all it is. Yeah, classic exactly. Draymond. If Prize Picks has a more than or less than technical fouls called on Draymond Green for next season, like a season-long pick that you can do on Prize Picks, they do the season-long ones. If you're into MLB, get them in today and early tomorrow morning before the season kicks off. Opening day is tomorrow. Happy opening day to MLB fans. Yeah, I'm hitting the more on that, and I'm probably hitting the more on suspension, games missed due to suspension. Please add those for next season, just for Draymond. I don't care about anybody else. I just need that one and text for Luka and Draymond. I'm probably hitting more than on both of those, and just picking those together.
Yeah, since we're talking about daily fantasy and more than less than, you notice today the NCAA is trying to ban PROP bets. Kind of interesting what's going on. I don't hate the idea, and I always kind of feel weird. I know I made my little money on a parlay on college basketball, but I felt really bad. I feel bad looking at people who are younger than me and putting money on them. It makes me feel like it's Coliseum vibes. Yeah. And if you're betting on college basketball player props, like the numbers right there, just call it at this point.
For sure. If you're not a college basketball head, then you probably should just stay out of that entirely.
Yeah.
I don't hate getting rid of the props necessarily, but on the other end, now we're in the NIL era where they're technically getting paid to play basketball, which is the same thing as the NBA. And we hit the Prize Picks daily fantasy app on the NBA every night. Right. So it's a weird line to cross. If you'd done this 10 years ago before the NIL had started, 5 years ago even, and got rid of it, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Stop putting more pressure on the kids by getting hecklers in there yelling, like, I need you to score 2 more points to hit the over. Like, I don't want any part of that. But on the other end, now they're being paid. So I don't know how to think about it. I guess if you got rid of it for a season, see how it goes. Like, because legalized gambling in those states, you can just bet on the teams. Money line, point spread, that's fine. But there's too many degenerates out there. I don't think the NCAA has a way to get rid of them. I just don't think there's a way to get rid of player props for college.
Exactly. If somebody's going to offer the line, yeah. If somebody offers the line, somebody's going to find it. Somebody's going to do it. I just truly think that is a sicko move. You're betting on Ivy League basketball player props in December. Like, go spend time with your family, please. It's ridiculous.
But in college football, I did it with Prize Picks all season because of the SEC. Like, I just kind of was like, yeah, I'm gonna hit more than on interceptions from Jalen Milroe every week. Like, I'm gonna count on that happening. It is what it is, I guess. More basketball talk though. Monday night, we recorded Monday night, but we missed this. We were recording during this game, but the Atlanta Hawks ended up beating the Boston Celtics by 2 points. I think it was like 130 to 128, 132 to 130, something like that. At halftime, I believe, or in the second quarter, it's like late in the second quarter, they were down 30 points. The Hawks were. And they came back and beat the Celtics. And Bill Simmons didn't say a fucking word on Twitter. I didn't see a peep out of it. He didn't mention anything on his podcast today. Didn't mention anything on his podcast last week about Billy. I'm coming after you, buddy. I'm the most rational Boston sports fan.
Oh,
Shut up, Bill. Shut up and talk about this. I want to hear
get him.
about the utter collapse from Joe Mazzulla and your second row Joe. Sorry, not third row. I just demoted him another row, but his second row Joe Mazzulla talk. I need that. Bring Bill Simmons' dad on the
Yeah,
podcast to talk about it because he's gonna give you the
sure.
truth, buddy. Dr. Simmons, he'll get it in there, buddy. He's gonna let you know how he feels.
Oh my
It's incredible
goodness.
every time he's on the podcast. But yeah, the Hawks
Yeah,
came back and beat the Celtics by 30, and it
yeah.
was awesome.
Good for play in Trey. Some are calling him. I'm just saying what I'm
Yeah,
told
no,
always.
I hate it.
I the Eastern Conference play-in is just hilarious.
I don't even know who's in it. There's no need
Exactly.
for me to pay attention to it.
It's Hawks. I think it's Hawks Bulls, but at least 9-10.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of sitting here wondering because Philly's probably going to have to play a play-in
it's
game.
gonna
I
be
think
Philly,
Miami as
Miami.
well. I think that's
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. 7-10. PU all around, but it's kind of nice to know that the Celtics aren't these demigods just yet. They're you can attack them in some ways. I think if you put up the best team in the West being Denver, I think Denver could probably beat them right now. And it just made me feel a little bit better knowing that, if they're going to get to 65 wins, whether it be 65, 66, 67, whatever, they're going to have to really put some effort in. And shout out the Hawks for disrupting that because I love it. I love good disruption. I mean, that's what we are here at Apollo. We're disruptors, and just seeing all that happen in the East while I'm just sitting cozy trying to will my Rockets to a 10-game win streak. Two Americas, am I right?
Yeah. And the Celtics, they were missing Drew Holiday. He's been out for the last, week or so. I don't know when he's coming back. They're all in this season. They went all the way in. They re-signed, or they gave a contract extension to Porzingis after trading for him, or they signed him as a free agent. I can't remember. And then they traded for Drew Holiday. A lot of money on the books. They've got a squad, but they do play in the East. They don't play the West. They've beaten all the Western teams for the most part. I don't think they beat Denver, but they've handled their business across the league. There's a reason they're heading towards 60 wins. Like, they're a very good basketball team, but however, when you're up 30 on the Hawks in the regular season, there is no scenario in which you should be losing that game if you're the best team in the league, as your fans have anointed you. There's no reason for that at all.
At all. Peyton Pritchard getting 25 minutes here, I think it was, and I'd imagine Luke Cornett is getting some minutes as well. You can kind of tell that the vibes were a little off. The vibes were off in Boston, but hey, I love me a good shooter on the court. I feel like every team's got to have that one quirky white boy, but it might not work with the Celtics because they got a couple of them. So be weary. Not necessarily a betting man, but I would not put my money on Boston to get out of the East. I'm just saying, this showed it.
Ooh.
I'm talking out of my ass, but man, imagine if the Celtics don't make the finals.
There is a scenario where the star power of Milwaukee takes over, right? There's also the scenario that the New York Knicks just take baseball bats with nails through them and just beat everyone's face in if OG and Julius Randle come back. Like, there's multiple scenarios where it could happen. The Magic are also in a position. I think they're too young right now and they don't have enough shooting, but another baseball bat with nails in it, like, just beating you to shit. There's a scenario. If the Celtics don't make the finals this year, it's a colossal failure, and it doesn't matter who wins the title. That's my topic for the entire offseason is just making fun of the Celtics. Unless the Dallas Mavericks win the title, then that's topic number one, and then topic two is just making fun of the Celtics the whole time.
I'm so glad you have your priorities straight in mid to late March. This is great.
As Slightly Biased said today on Locked On Mavericks, the Dallas Mavericks showed you what June basketball is going to look like. So,
wow.
Another great basketball game that we witnessed last night on Tuesday night, TNT game, Bucks Lakers goes to double overtime. No LeBron. Back to the betting. I saw a tweet today. A guy had a parlay that was going to pay out like $1,700, and he put down $5 on it. Giannis just needed to have over 30.5 points, and he had 29 in 2 overtime in a double overtime game. Anthony Davis went off. He had 29 and 20 or something like that. Something just
Yeah.
absurd.
Yep.
Just a great game, honestly. And I missed the entire portion of the overtime game because I am a true fan and watched my team on True TV, the Dallas Mavericks play against the Sacramento Kings. I was following along on Twitter, but yeah, I watched a good bit of the second half, and then I had to watch the PJ Washington masterclass. So it is what it is. The game is the game. But Bucks Lakers over double overtime.
God,
They
man.
the Lakers prevail in double overtime without LeBron. So good for them
Yeah.
and their 9 seed.
Exactly. But first of all, please get it together. I talked to you about this early pre-show. The fact that you were watching the Mavericks first quarter instead of a nationally televised game. You cover the NBA. What are we doing here? You were the host of the world-renowned Zero Gravity podcast. This is your duty, your due diligence, brother. What are we doing?
After me for watching my team on the TV, and then also watching my other team on my computer, aka the Dallas Stars. I only have so many screens I can use.
Right. I love who gets 1A and 1B in your household. Shout out the Mavericks for that. I wouldn't expect anything.
I mean, the Stars
less.
are heading towards a president's trophy, which I don't want at all. That's the best team in the league, most points in the league or whatever. Yeah, I don't want the president's trophy. They're currently tied for first in the West. So I don't really have a lot of stress watching Stars games because I was like, all right, we're going to make the playoffs. Whatever. It's going to happen. They get clinched tomorrow. Right. However, the Dallas Mavericks, I need them in the 5 or the 4 seed more than I need like air on this earth. So I think that's why I had the Mavericks on the big screen last night and just switched over from a double overtime game that I didn't know was going to double overtime. And I was very upset because I turned on TNT and I was like, all right, where's the fucking game? And I was like, what do we do? It was on True TV. I was watching it with Impractical Jokers the whole night. It was great.
Yeah. $50,000 or courtside seats with the Impractical Jokers.
I'm taking the courtside seats.
Consider that.
Fine.
Okay.
Give me the courtside seats with Joe. I'm great. I'm gonna have a great time with Sal and Joe and Murr and Q. It's gonna be awesome. Can't wait to hang out with the boys. Are we filming for an episode as well? Do I get that pleasure?
Yeah, sure. In this hypothetical, absolutely.
Right, I'm taking that.
I to this day, I think it's been like 6 or 7 years, just the $50,000 or dinner with Jay-Z memes. They always reinvent themselves, and just, I'm thinking about it more and more, and I think I might take the Impractical Jokers there, especially if it's at the Garden. I mean, how could you not?
If it's at the Garden, I'm definitely taking it. I would have taken it pretty much anywhere outside of like Memphis and Atlanta and Milwaukee, probably. Get me out of if we're in a big market, like. I'm not doing San Antonio either. Any of the California teams, I'll take it. The Dallas Mavericks and the Houston Rockets, I'll take a courtside seat there. And obviously the Garden. Definitely go to the Garden.
Hey, in OKC, I think you can get courtside seats for like $300. So don't do it there if you were planning on it.
Count I'm just saying. Yeah. Have you seen the BYU TikToks of the guy that goes around and he's like, would you rather have $5 million or 5 minutes with Joseph Smith?
Oh,
and like more than half the answers are like the 5 minutes with Joseph Smith. I'm like, are you fucking serious, dude? Just take the money, assholes.
Just take the money and
go somewhere else. It is fine.
Just to recap here, I think we went everywhere around the sun, other than
that's for sure what happened. Bucks Lakers double overtime,
and yeah, I would just love to say that DAngelo Russell is still an amazing player in this league. And if anyone ever told you otherwise, I don't care what propaganda they were trying to spread. They've always been wrong.
Okay.
And just seeing it happen again, my lefty. I love lefties, dude. I don't want to say I grew up on Harden. I'm kind of a grown man. And let me be careful. My late childhood was with Harden. How about that? No, and anytime I see a lefty on the court, I just have a soft spot for it. And there's just something about DAngelo Russell, man. He hoops. Serious. He just moves. It's crazy. And just seeing him kind of flourish back into this role and actually give those Lakers like really good minutes, other than, of course, Austin Reeves hit the dagger, but he gave him some great minutes in those overtimes and those late fourth quarters. And I would love to see it happen in the postseason. He could be the true X factor. I'm thinking like 2019, 2020 retirement home squad. Imagine DAngelo Russell on that team. I'm talking 60 wins here, especially 2019 DAngelo Russell. Ooh, shit.
Yeah, I've always liked D'Lo. I don't know why. And then when D'Lo was being thrown around in like trade rumors for Kyrie in the offseason to Dallas, when obviously Laker fans were instigating that, I was like terrified. I wanted no part of that. Kyrie for D'Lo is not a 1-for-1 here, boys.
Absolutely
But
not.
yeah, you remember when D'Lo right before the trade deadline this season was just completely down in the dumps on the bench? Just looked like he just
Yep.
knew he was going to
Yep.
be traded, and then all of a sudden the Lakers did nothing at the trade deadline. So good for him to get to stay in LA and play in a Lakers uniform. That's
Exactly.
awesome. And now that he's just showing out for a majority of the season, honestly, he's been very good. Like for the role that he's in,
Absolutely.
what they need him to do, a lot of the time he's doing that. He doesn't have to score 30 a
Dude,
night. He doesn't have to
exactly.
carry the Brooklyn Nets to their 44 win season and that 7 seed that year, like the fun Brooklyn Nets team where they dance on the that fucking Nets team pissed me off. That whatever. I saw D'Lo in during that season. It was at the 2019 Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, I saw him in
Yeah.
Brooklyn. I don't remember who they played, but I remember the bench mob. The
Nice.
most
It was
auraless
so funny
arena
because
of all time, Barclay. There's
yes.
nothing going on in there. I was like, this is an awesome arena. It looks
Oh man.
sick. And then the entire environment was awful. It's just terrible.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is Panera Bread and Chipotle's fault. As soon as they changed those
Mm.
logos, all these new arenas came up, and they just all look like Roblox. It looks not real. It's just like you're playing Minecraft almost, and you just have black material, and you're just splattering it on walls. There's no life, and it's weird. I went to Globe Life Field, and
Mm-hmm.
I would say that there is a little life in there. I know I'm a Houston
It's
guy,
the
but
home run
it
cannons.
was weird. If you've been into Globe Life, well, first of all, there's like insane advertisements in the outfield. I'm not going to outwardly say
Yep.
anybody. Incredible stuff in the outfield, and then you go to each section of the park. Other than the Golden Chick, it's like the same 3 restaurants just in different places, and it just really threw
Yep.
me off. I was like, "There's life in here. Like there's little pockets and little like mini museums, and you get to see the announcing booth,
Yep.
which is sick, like up close and personal behind home plate." But man, there's no swag in these new arenas, and I'm really trying to like grasp on straws. Like, and I can't even imagine like the Toyota Center still has deflated basketballs in their mini hoop arcade games. It's been 10 years, guys. Fix it, please.
That's brutal. Um, this Lakers team is interesting without LeBron, though, where it all filters through Anthony
Right.
Davis. And Bill Simmons
Ah,
asked it on his podcast. I'll give him credit. He came up with a good thing today. Whatever. They spent 4 minutes on this Lakers Bucks game, and then he's talking about NFL over unders for the season. It's March. Classic Bill Simmons. It's just a riveting podcast. I made it through 12 minutes before
awesome.
I had to dip out. But he asked the question, what if Anthony Davis never gets traded from New Orleans and it's just his team? Is this just the Anthony Davis that we get every night? And the answer is no. He will get injured more than likely. And the other answer is he doesn't do this on a nightly basis. That's just not who he is. Like you're getting this once a week, maybe twice, if you're lucky, out of a 3-4 game span.
Yeah.
You're not getting supernova Anthony Davis every night because I don't think he's necessarily capable of doing it because of his body, not because he doesn't have the
Got
ability to
it.
do it. It's just his body limits him because he's a 7-foot big that also has guard kind of tendencies and plays hard and he gets beat up out there. Like he just can't physically do it because he's
Exactly.
been hurt pretty much every season forever. So
Yeah, he's the perfect NBA 2K like my career build.
yep.
Just like an absolute like bajillion level scorer who just happens to be 7 feet tall and like relatively fast for his
Yep.
size. I think it's almost like a yearly basis. As long as he's in the playoffs, he shows out, and I just hope that we can at least continue that this year. I just hope that I'd love to see LeBron involved in it. I don't exactly know what was going on with him last night.
He's just all
Stony injury
dinged
report.
up. I think. I don't think it's anything
Okay.
crazy serious, but yeah, I think he's missed the last 2 games. Maybe I can't remember if it's his.
Okay, like a DNP dinged up.
It's
That's what we call it.
LeBron needs to take a couple games off if they want to make it out of the play-in. It's really what
Yeah,
that is.
it's
I
pretty
think
much.
that's all it is. Did you see
Yeah,
his
a
quote
yearly
on his new
tradition since before
podcast with
COVID.
JJ Redick?
Which one?
He was talking to his wife allegedly. You have to say that when LeBron speaks and tells a story. So he was like, imagine buying a 2003 Escalade and then driving that for 21 years, and it's 2024 now, and you never change the tires. Never change the tires on these bad boys. And he's like, now, wife, give me a foot rub. And I'm like, that's weird. Like, yeah, you get one set of feet for your entire life, brother. It's not like you get to just change your tires on your feet. Like, that's not a thing.
Oh,
So that's what he
Jesus.
compared his body to, which I found hilarious. And I haven't
Very,
watched the full
very riveting
podcast yet,
stuff.
but I saw that like 2-minute clip and I was just laughing because that's just like not the analogy you use. You could have used the 2003 Escalade and been like, and you're still driving it 21
Yeah.
years later. The whole tire changing thing just threw me for a loop, and then asking for a foot rub, which Savannah most likely did not give him. Let's just be plain and simple here, especially after the Genie Bus allegations the other week. And allegations, I mean, just him flirting with Jeannie Buss, trying to get another $100 million contract for 2 years. Is really all that was.
Happy International Women's Day,
Yep,
lady.
there
It's
it was.
incredible stuff that only my king could come up with that.
Gotta love LeBron. So yeah, that was just maintenance rest days for LeBron, I would assume. But good for the Lakers getting the win against the Bucks team. This Doc Rivers Bucks team is just it's exactly what I thought it was gonna be. It's like, who could have possibly seen this coming?
Yeah, nobody, right?
Oh no, Doc Rivers led basketball team is not performing up to expectations. Oh no, who could have seen this coming? Yeah, it's very
like
funny that you're listening to a LeBron-less Lakers team in double overtime, and Giannis can't even score more than 30 points on TNT.
Exactly.
Nonetheless.
And it's like teams this year have a really good home court advantage, and even the Celtics are like, what, 27-3, 27-4 at home. They're ridiculous, and especially the Rockets too. If we didn't have such a good home record, we stink on the road. I can't even tell you if we've gotten 10 wins on the road. But just losing without LeBron in street clothes. Well, street clothes it's a stretch. He was probably in like a $20,000 jacket, give or take. The new Nike whatever the collaboration jacket. But the Bucks might be, trouble in paradise, or in trouble here. What's happening? What do you think?
Well, I could tell you what the problem is. They traded away Drew Holiday, who gave you a little bit of offense and a lot of defense, for Damian Lillard, who gives you, I guess, a little bit more offense technically and literally zero defense. And then you also fired your coach when you were 30-13 and hired none other than Doc Rivers, who was in a ESPN booth 2 nights before he got hired. Like, we've seen Doc Rivers coach over the years, and he literally lucked into a 2008 Finals championship with this.
Absolutely.
Like, Kevin Garnett carried him, and Paul Pierce shit his pants and got wheeled off. I will not let that be forgotten. But they catch a Lakers team that wasn't necessarily ready for him, I guess, and they finally win that title. And Doc Rivers and John Calipari, they've been riding big men, one title for eternity. Like, they just keep getting it. We saw the Doc Rivers Clippers teams for years. We saw the Celtics teams for years after the 2008 title just not be able to get it done. I don't know what anyone like. Everyone in the NBA was like, "Oh, wow, really, Doc Rivers? That's what we're going with? We didn't just like promote someone from within."
Yeah, they could have easily just like brought an assistant up.
Yeah,
I mean, what?
And obviously, Ty Lue wasn't on the bench, so it's not a LeBron getting rid of David Blatt and then all of a sudden Ty Lue's your coach. Like, Ty Lue's a very good basketball coach, and it worked for that situation. There's probably someone on that bench that could have just rode out the season and probably done
absolutely
better than Doc Rivers, honestly, by a few games. Like, if we're being completely honest. So I think Doc Rivers is a very big problem, but also getting rid of Drew Holiday and getting Damian Lillard just is a huge minus on defense. And then also Brook Lopez is a little bit older. If Bobby Portis isn't going to be able to just rebound and anchor your defense without Giannis on the floor, then you're just going to give up buckets after buckets. And Chris Middleton hasn't played a lot this season. That's another thing. He's been injured. So there's a lot of problems going on with the Bucks, and I don't see it getting better.
Yeah, no, I if they can get somehow a cakewalk, let's say who's the
I
seventh
think
seed
it's
right
Philly.
now?
Philly or
Miami,
Miami. Yeah.
Philly. Once Embiid comes back,
Yeah, you got that. And you also
2-7.
have
Yeah,
playoff Miami coached by Eric Spoelstra, and Jimmy Butler just goes into
exactly.
demon mode. So you also have
Yeah,
that
but
problem.
Jimmy Butler and all, yeah, Jimmy Butler and all those guys were out last night when the Warriors were starting their back to
Yeah.
back and their kind of Florida circuit that they're doing. I think something's going on, Stone, and we really need to
All
talk
right.
about it. The NBA is rigging games to get Lakers and Warriors for the third straight season in the play, second straight season,
Yeah.
allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Are they, or is it just Jimmy Butler's just like, I'm not playing every game until the playoffs start? Like, we've seen Jimmy Butler from
They
the
can't
beginning of the
afford.
season. He's just like, I don't give a fuck about the regular season. You can count me out for half the games. I'll see you in the playoffs. I don't give a shit if we're playing. I'll make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and probably make the finals. Like, just the zombie Heat do it every year, and Jimmy Butler just doesn't care. So I'm not necessarily in on the tinfoil hat for that Miami game. However, I am on the tinfoil hat that the NBA wants Golden State and Steph Curry in the play-in game to probably play against the Lakers, which is going to be gross. But it's not going to
Right.
be a fun game to watch
Yeah.
necessarily. I don't think it's going to be really
Not
gross,
really,
probably.
especially. Yeah, it's like 39-year-old Chris Paul. Do I really want to see and feel this again? Can't say I do.
I feel for you. You had to root for Chris Paul for multiple years on your favorite basketball team. I am so glad that I've never had to root for Chris Paul. It's just like the worst person to root for. I would hate it.
He has a baby face, so you're like, so he gets on your team, and you're like, oh, like he has good intentions, and then you like start to look back film and like compilations of him in a Rockets uniform, and you're like, this guy was a piece of
He's
shit.
the worst. He's awful. So I'm sure the
Yeah,
NBA is probably doing that, but I will say that I don't think that's on Miami, where Jimmy Butler has actively told everyone in the media every time is like, I don't care. It just does not matter to me until the playoffs start.
sicko,
It just
absolute
doesn't matter.
sicko.
And he's proved that with his preseason media day pictures. So he just keeps doing
Yeah,
it.
wow, what a time, wasn't that?
What a time. What a time. But yeah, your
Yeah.
Rockets are playing the Thunder, so we'll probably talk about them on Sunday, see what's going on there. They're down 5 right now heading into the fourth quarter. So we'll hop off so you can go catch the last quarter of the Oklahoma City
Thank you, sir.
Houston Rockets matchup there, and hopefully we can get a win and keep it in within one game there for the 10 seed.
Please.
That would be great.
I love just grasping at straws, just hoping that we get involved with anything with the postseason. I don't care if we have to sweep floors during halftime or whatever the case. I just want to see the Rockets in a postseason game, and I don't care if it's the play-in, whatever. Just get me there. I don't care how.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, and I'm also grasping at straws because if the Mavericks make the 4 or the 5 seed, Luka gets the MVP, and that's how it goes, and that's how it will be. And if people tell me differently, I will yell at them. So I will find your home.
Yep.
That's it. I'm not going to go Jackie. I'm not
Yeah.
going to go Jackie Moon. That was allegedly. Tuesday.
Check Tuesday.
That's for the YouTube listeners. This has been Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast, brought to you by Big City Wings, Houston's Wing Joint, Apollo's Wing Joint. Go check out CelebrityMint.com and at the Celebrity Mint on social media to go see their graded legal tender collectibles of Mike Tyson, Ric Flair, and more. And shout out to Prize Picks, our daily fantasy sponsor. You can hit more or less on every pick that you do for all of these players and all these sports. When you go to deposit money into your account with Prize Picks, use code Apollo when you sign up and get up to $100 match on your first deposit with Prize Picks. Use code Apollo with Prize Picks. This has been Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast.